Today, I am proud to announce a collection of essential staples that will be predictably 30% cheaper at all 5 of our city-run grocery stores.
New York City, with Zohran Mamdani at the helm, just seems to be getting better and better by the day. And in this age of politicians never living up to their campaign promises, it is really refreshing to have someone like Mamdani out there. Case in point, just today he held a press conference on his initiative to have city-run grocery stores throughout the 5 boroughs. And in a major victory, he has announced that certain products at the stores will be 30% cheaper than their counterparts. So let's take a look together at his announcement.
We know that for many New Yorkers, 30% at the grocery store means something very different. Since 2019, food prices have soared at grocery stores around the country by roughly 30%, in fact. Talk to shoppers around the city, and you'll often hear the same frustration. Wages have not kept up. Making matters even worse, some corporations have built out technology that allows for something called surveillance pricing, collecting personal data to charge some people more than others for the same carton of eggs, for the same gallon of milk. All of this leaves too many New Yorkers feeling like groceries are out of reach. And that is frankly unacceptable, which is why city government is stepping in to make people's lives more affordable. Today, I am proud to announce a collection of essential staples that will be predictably 30% cheaper at all 5 of our city-run grocery stores.
There it is. Just a quick pause right here. I think it's so incredible that Zohran is doing this. And also, the surge pricing method is absolutely absurd. And so him actually calling that out is just major. It is such a terrible business practice.
This core set of goods will include all fresh produce, meat, and seafood, along with 20 other essential items like cheese, milk, and bread. Here's how it will work. Once a month, our 5 city-run grocery stores will set prices for this core set of goods at 30% below typical retail prices. No exceptions, no gimmicks. The savings will last for the entire month. That means no weekly fluctuations nor sticker shock at the checkout line. Not for our seniors living on fixed incomes, nor for the parents who rely on a regular supply of apple slices to keep toddler tantrums at bay. Now...
Oh, where's he going?
Can we all see this incredible example of produce in my hand? Now, you will see these plantains here, so for anyone wondering how much these beautiful plantains might cost, you can use this QR code or head to grocery.nyc to access our policy report. I'm going to demonstrate exactly what that means. Ladies and gentlemen, the QR code does work. You can see this here.
So that is most of the announcement right there. I figured we would show that little bit there of him also just pulling out the phone, checking out the QR code. But it just showcased Zohran Mamdani's ability to actually implement change into his city, right? And to push forward grocery prices. That should not be a thing that is politicized, should not be a thing that people can decide between getting good groceries or, you know, healthcare, right? Oh, things that we will pay way too much for. But just Zohran's ability to just handle a crowd, have these funny quips, and just be the best person that he can be is absolutely amazing. And on that note, at this same press conference where he's announcing all of these amazing things about the city-run grocery stores, guess who came up but none other than Benjamin Netanyahu. Yes, of course, it was Benjamin Netanyahu. So we're going to take a look at this clip right here where Zohran Mamdani was asked a question about his criticisms of Netanyahu and how does that apply to the broad majority of Israelis or the Jewish population, and this is what he had to say. Take a look.
To your point, when I make criticisms of Prime Minister Netanyahu, they are criticisms of Prime Minister Netanyahu. And what I shared were not even, frankly, personal assessments, they were objective facts. And my responsibility as a New Yorker and as a mayor of this city is a responsibility to take care of each and every person who calls the city their home. And that is not based upon whether or not they agree with me, how they feel about me. My job is to make sure that they are safe, that they are thriving, and they continue to call this city home. And that's always going to be my North Star on how we can do that. Because this is an incredible city, and it's a city where everyone needs to know that their belonging to it is not conditional on how they feel about the mayor.
Amazing. Again, another amazing statement. And this is really a broad policy of progressive politicians, right? They're like, we just want to help you. And if you look at the other side of the table, it's if you're a blue state, you don't get federal funding. If you're a blue state, you don't actually get FEMA support if there's a natural disaster. If you're a blue state, you must hate the president, and therefore you hate the country, and therefore you don't deserve anything. And whereas Zohran Mamdani says, I don't care how you feel about me. I want you to have healthcare. I want you to have cheap groceries. I want you to be better. And I want Israel to stop killing people indiscriminately, right? And so I just can't believe that people look at this guy and see he's the villain in this scenario. But now that there's obviously the Zohran Mamdani and Benjamin Netanyahu have been going at this thing for a while, and because Zohran said that he would arrest Netanyahu and all of these things, and now Netanyahu himself was on an interview with Fox, which again, I can't believe that this ugly piece of shit is on news networks. But let's take a look at just a quick segment on Netanyahu on Zohran Mamdani, and then Zohran has a great reply. So let's just watch this for context real quick.
Now he's going to be in the dock. And I think that tells you that the whole thing that the mayor of New York is basing himself on, this criminals, bogus charges, that's what he's using. And look at what he's doing.
Bogus charges.
He's fomenting hate. He's supposed to be the mayor of all New Yorkers, Jews, Christians, Muslims, everyone. But he's trying to turn one group against the other.
All right, that's enough of that. Just basically, Zohran Mamdani's fomenting hate, according to Benjamin Netanyahu, the biggest fomenting of hater of the entire planet, right? Just absolutely absurd that he even has any smoke for anyone at this point. But Zohran Mamdani received a question about these exact comments and has a beautiful reply. So let's take a look together at this. Here we go.
Mayor, I was just wondering if you could also respond to Prime Minister Netanyahu's comments on Fox. I don't know if you saw them 24 hours ago or so, saying that you, in fact, were fomenting hate. It was brought up in the context of the Upper West Side attack that is suspected to be a hate crime. I'm wondering what you make of his comments, and if you have spoken to any federal officials, including President Trump, about your call to accept the ICC and arrest him.
So I'm not interested in getting into a back and forth with Prime Minister Netanyahu. What I will say is that here in New York City, one of my top priorities is keeping Jewish New Yorkers safe, keeping every single New Yorker safe. And we know that while Jewish New Yorkers comprise a minority of all New Yorkers, they comprise a majority of the victims of all hate crimes, and it is unacceptable. And I am thankful, as we have seen over the past few days, that the Asian New Yorker and the Jewish New Yorker who were stabbed are in stable condition. I continue to...
Yeah. So Zohran Mamdani here has a statement about that, this terrible crime that was committed, and he has a dynamite statement, right? Because he has no respect for Benjamin Netanyahu, right? And so he goes, I don't want to get into this back and forth with him. This crime that happened is terrible. I'm here to defend all New Yorkers. This is obscene. Benjamin Netanyahu calling this out and making a personal attack against me is ridiculous, right? And that's exactly what he's doing here, because clearly he does not like Benjamin Netanyahu, as we heard in this statement from earlier. He basically says, this is not a personal opinion of Netanyahu or personal conclusion. This is facts, right? So it's just absolutely amazing. And back to this idea of Benjamin Netanyahu saying Zohran Mamdani is fomenting hate. I believe that the only real people fomenting hate in this entire process that we have is these people right here, that More Perfect Union calls out. Billionaires have already poured $433 million into the 2026 midterm elections, and 80% of it has gone to Republicans. This goes into slanderous ad campaigns. This goes into horrific email lists. This goes into pumping up the numbers for these politicians who will guarantee make your life worse instead of their Democratic or progressive or left-leaning, whatever it may be, adjacent counterparts. So 80% of it is going to Republicans. Clearly, billionaires have a favorite, and this just shows it right here. So I just kind of wanted to end things off with this message of, even though the Republicans have the money, they have this influence of the billionaires, they do not have, one, the popular mandate, or two, the power of the people, the grassroots organizing that exists very strongly within the Democratic Party, especially the progressive wing of it. So be sure to keep fighting, be sure to keep pushing, because we will see a blue House and a blue Senate come November. I believe it. So if you agree with what Zohran Mamdani had to say in this video, or if you believe that we will have a blue Senate, be sure to subscribe to US Democratic Socialists for more news like this. But I think it's going to do it for me. I'm Iago Lashua. Have a great day. Goodbye.